All right, everybody, welcome back to the #1 television program in the history of the entire universe. I am BrianLeeDurfee, author of The Forgetting Moon, The Blackest Heart, and The Lonesome Crown. All three books published by Simon & Schuster's Saga Press. Today I'm going to be reviewing Darksaber, a Star Wars Legends novel by Kevin J. Anderson, my good friend Kevin J. Anderson. In fact, I interviewed Kevin not long ago on the channel. If you want to just type in my last name, Durfee, and Kevin J. Anderson's name, the interview should probably pop right up. But a really good interview I did with Kevin. Darksaber came out in 1985. Part of the Star Wars Legends, which, in my opinion, is the real canon of the Star Wars universe. I don't even pay attention to the movies or TV shows that they're making anymore. Some of them were cool. Some of them, I would admit, were pretty cool, but some of them were, this is the real canon in my opinion. This is what really happened, is what happened in these books. Okay, so let's talk about the cover first, because you know I love graphic design and cover illustration. This is a great illustration by Drew Struzan, who did most of the, if not all of the Star Wars Legends covers back in the 1990s and early 2000s. Drew Struzan, one of the better artists and illustrators of all time. Love it. Okay, so what's this book about? I've been reading and reviewing these Star Wars Legends novels. I've got a lot of them on the channel that I've reviewed. So this takes place right after the last book that I reviewed. I can't remember what that was. It was the Barbara Hambly book. I can't remember what the title of it was. This takes place right after this. So, 8 years after the Battle of Endor from Return of the Jedi, Admiral Dalla, one of the bad guys from the previous book to this one by Barbara Hambly, that is thought to be dead, but maybe not dead. On Yavin 4, Luke is forming his Jedi Academy. Well, he has formed it. Luke has also destroyed the starship Eye of Palpatine and rescued Callista, his first ever love. People know him for getting married to Mara Jade, but no, he had another love before Mara Jade, and that is Callista, who is also a Jedi with Jedi powers. And we'll get into her character a little bit in a second, but we got a really cool opening scene here with Han Solo and Luke Skywalker disguised as Tusken Raiders. And just Kevin J. Anderson's description and the detail that he puts into this book about the customs of the Tusken Raiders, like their tribal customs, their religious customs, like things that they believe and do, and their rituals. Just cool to see from Luke and Han's eyes as they're disguised as these Tusken. Because if you know what a Tusken Raider is, it's like a helmet, like a helmet wrapped in cheesecloth that's been dyed tan color or something. I don't know. That's a really crappy description of what a Tusken Raider looks like. But anyway, I digress. They're disguised, and so they're making their way to they're on Tatooine, of course. They're making their way to Jabba's palace. And they get to the Hutt's palace, and they remember it from Return of the Jedi. They get kind of wandering through it, and they're seeing people in there. And anyway, bottom line is they're trying to reach Durga Hutt. Now, Durga Hutt, they're trying to figure out what the Hutts are doing, really, is because the Hutts are involved in some stuff. The Hutts are involved in some bad shenanigans. And Durga Hutt, particularly. But he's on Hoth. Durga Hutt is actually on Hoth, if you remember Hoth from Empire Strikes Back. And so we've got that plot going on with the Hutts. What are they involved in? Well, they're involved in helping to build a replica of the Death Star. And that is called Darksaber. Yes, the new Death Star is actually named Darksaber, which is interesting because if you watch The Mandalorian, you know that there's a Darksaber in The Mandalorian, which is actually a saber, like a sword. And so now we've got a Darksaber that's a Death Star in the Legends books. And then in The Mandalorian, we've got the Darksaber, which is a magic sword, like a laser sword. Just a badass laser sword. So I guess there can be both. I guess there can just be both. Whatever. I don't, whatever. There can be both. Anyway, Mara Jade is in this book, one of my favorite characters. And my favorite scenes in this book are Mara Jade, who's very cocky, very arrogant. Her conversations with Callista, keep in mind, Callista is Luke Skywalker's first love. Mara Jade is eventually who Luke Skywalker marries. And when these two get together and meet, the tension between them, the conversation, it's just, I like it. It just thrilled me to no end. I don't know why. That kind of drama. It's almost like Bachelorette. It's almost like The Bachelor. Like Luke Skywalker is the Bachelor, and he's got to give a rose eventually to one of these girls. And they are, you know, like this to each other. Anyway, I thought it was cool. This book ends one of the better endings to a Star Wars novel. Action, smashing action. I don't know why that doesn't go. The action is smashing. It's also got a heartbreaking yet hopeful ending. And if you read this book or have read this book, you know what I'm talking about. And that's about all I will say about the plot and things that are going on without trying to spoil too much. But it is one of my favorite Star Wars Legends novels. So much so that I'm going to give it a 9.75 out of 10. And I can't think of anything that would not... Well, let's just give it a 10 out of 10. I'm like, we're so close. Let's round up to 10. It is one of the better Star Wars Legends books.